I know from the topic you know what I want to talk about. When I started listening to that documentary, I almost lost it. At the time, I think it was in episode 2, my heart was bursting. It was feeling so heavy, like it's going to burst. And in the midst of that heartbreak, God gave me peace. And it's that peace that I bring to you. Hello and welcome. I couldn't describe how I felt. And I'm literally shaking, literally vibrating. I was so troubled that it affected almost everything I did today. Sit back. I want to plead that you forgive me if I come against anything you hold there, because this is a very sensitive topic and we are dealing with issues of faith. I am not here to authenticate what has been said in that documentary or reject it. And like I said, there are many people who will come so hard debunking what has been said, and there are those who will come so hard supporting it. I'm not interested in either of those. I just want to highlight some of the things that were said in that documentary and bring your attention to some other areas. It has always been the case. Anybody that has known T.B Joshua would have either argued that he is real or that he is not. Whichever side of the divide you belong, I pray you find something to keep moving and to keep living your life as an individual. Some people will be highly struck because also they have witnessed a very good side of this man in question, and that's all they know. So whatever anybody brings will mean nothing. Will just mean bad breath around who they know to have affected their lives positively. On the other hand, a lot of people would have one or two biases for which they will sustain whatever is said in the negative concerning the man in question. They may have very cogent and personal experiences. Whatever be your own experience, for me, it is how to get you moving, knowing full well that we all came into this life individuals and we will all go individuals. If you're going to let the life another person lived influence you to the point that you make negative decisions that will also influence your own life, it's up to you. But let me also bring this to your notice, that satanic forces, powers of darkness, witches, wizard, whatever form in which they represent or they present, are people's relations, blood brothers and sisters. If you call someone a witch or a satanic force, they are someone's favorite. But do you know the difference? The only difference is that when they are in their satanic and dark elements, they fulfill all the purposes of the divide they find themselves in that moment. And when they are in their physical realms, the way you know them, they will exhibit every character expected of that realm. Now, let me also remind you that there is no neutral human being. You are either here or there. In the world we live in, things have become so difficult, complicated, that there are no free human beings, no neutral human beings. You have to identify with a force. It's either you identify with God or you identify with the devil, with Satan. It's also a matter of choice. Did you remember what I just said? That beings, personalities exhibiting the functions of darkness are people's relations. So when you call them evil, some other people call them good. The only thing you need to know is that whenever they are in which of the elements, they'll show you the characters of those elements. And remember that human beings are spiritual beings. They are partly spiritual, spirit beings, and partly flesh. And that's the reason we are not all treated like animals, because we have spirit, soul, and body. And when you detach yourself from your maker, who is God, according to his word, he has made you little lower than the angels. You have to function in that hierarchy. When you detach yourself from God, life has no meaning, because he is your source. That is when emptiness comes in. That is when you ask too many questions about life and you don't find answers. In case you don't really understand, I want to paint a picture for you. T.B Joshua is a spiritual leader, whether it's positive or negative, but he is a spiritual leader who wants to be seen as a prophet. He started a course. He worked so hard to advance that course. We look at the antics. We look at the advancement. We see the mistakes, alleged bloodshed, alleged mind control. He once said that in every 2,000 years, God sends a prophet. That is why I told you that T.B Joshua is a spiritual leader who wants to be seen as a prophet. Does anything come to mind? That comparison brings Christ to your mind, brings Prophet Muhammad to your mind as well. They all had a course. They advanced their course in some ways. This man too, T.B Joshua, wanted to be seen as a prophet of our time. He also worked hard to advance his course. But surely there's always an end. And I think these whole revelations, whether they are true or not, came because there was an end. It's no more. Remember, I'm not here to say they are true, they are not true. That is not what I'm here to do. I'm here to simplify the matter so that you have peace and decide how you chart your own course. Now, in the whole documentary, I have the following issues. The dead is defenseless. That brings me to the question, why all this documentary were not done when he could say one or two things for himself. 2, everybody testifying in that documentary had one wound or the other. It's coming from a place of hurt. 3, they were all accomplices who feel that it's time to go down, and we cannot all go down together. Why do I say so? They started living, or most of them started living, exactly almost the same time there was an investigation into the happenings in Synagogue Church after the collapse of the structure. So when I look at it, it looks like now that a light is being beamed here, we can all be caught. So the earlier we sang as birds, the earlier we are exonerated. But if you ask me, everyone enabled it. Everything they said, especially in episode 1, and then in other episode 2 and 3, looked to me like efforts put together to grow a brand. The sleepless nights, the disciplining of self and killing of the flesh, the fastings, the commands, attracting foreign presence, putting videos together, media presence. They look to me like business strategy, like something that was done or all that is needed to grow a brand. Like I said, T.B Joshua was trying to grow a brand, was trying to have a presence, was trying to advance a cause. And then he did all that's involved to grow that brand. It simply means he worked, and they all worked so hard. Do you know what it means to be a disciple? Go and ask the disciples of Jesus or the disciples of any major religious leader. Go and ask what it means to be a disciple, not what it means to be a member. What it means to be a disciple. The disciples are the people who carry the burden of the building times. If you ask me, these people were the foundational members and builders of that cause that man wanted to advance. He wanted to be another prophet. Inferences are accompanied by clips from previous happenings, things that didn't happen as at the time of the documentary. So when they are put together, they look like what is happening now. That is how most video makings are. When you are talking about someone, you bring clips of when he said something, clips of when he did one thing or the other, and put them together. It's called storytelling, to tell a story. So, clips that supported the inferences drawn in that documentary were not simultaneously happening as at the time of the documentary. I'm just telling you things you have to take note of. It will also help you to make your judgment. I am not telling you what to believe or what to accept. But one or two things I am saying here is going to help you fix your mind, your mental health, because the thing said in that video is big enough to make someone lose his mind. It's one side of a story. If those things happened, look at the lives that would have been destroyed. And then when I look at the beauty of the work that has gone in, you look at the congregation, look at the international coverage, look at worldwide acceptance and spread. Someone put that effort all in mischief. What are the repercussions? Smearing of faith. Whether you are a Christian or you are a Muslim and you want to either rejoice based on those kind of things, it also tells the character you have. It tells a lot about your person. It tells a lot about the things that make you happy and things you don't frown about. If I listen to those documentaries as someone of any other religion, I'll be worried. I'm not going to be joyous that it's happening on the other side and I'm better. Who is better? So, generally, it brings shame to the name of God. But can God be shamed? God cannot be shamed. Whatsoever a man sow, the scripture said he will reap. God is God. He's not going to change because of any man. He's not going to feel ashamed. He has set every standard for us to know who is on the Lord's side, who is on God's side. So whether it is A, religion, B, religion, C, religion, there are general things you will see and you will know who is on the Lord's side. And you should always advance God's side. So do not rejoice when that is under attack. National reputation. Nigerians are good. It is said that Nigerians are good in everything they do. And lately, Nigeria has been so much in the media for so many good reasons. And this one comes the same Nigeria. Should I cry? I have cried. But I know that Nigerians are good people. I know there are many good people in Nigeria. In the millions that are in Nigeria, one person cannot define who we are. Yes, Nigerians are ingenious. Nigerians are good in whatever they do. And I believe that Nigeria is very strategic in global wellness, in global prosperity, in God's agenda for the world. Spiritually, physically, governance-wise, Nigeria is very strategic to the world. And there's no amount of thing that will bring our spirits down. Good people are everywhere, and bad people are everywhere. So whether such documentary smears the kingdom of God or not, it's only for God to say. There was a time some man in the Bible said, "Oh God, bad people are everywhere. Righteous people have finished. It's only me that is left." And God told him, "I still have many more people who have not bowed to Baal." And that is how it is yet. What about economic loss? Economic loss because the T.B Joshua brand brought a lot of presence to Nigeria. Chains of businesses, the ecosystem around that brand in Lagos State and abroad. You know, in some quarters, if such report is given by now, that place would have been under lock and key. Government would have taken over and all that. If that happens in Nigeria, it's going to be a lot. But if you also ask me, the man is dead. And the wife now runs the brand. So, from the documentary, you could see that the wife knew less about the activities of the man. Now that she has taken over, is she sustaining whatever was done there? And now that the group in that documentary who also enabled what happened are no longer there, and now that the man that is said to be sleeping around with all of them is no longer there, is there another man sleeping around with them? Are there another group of people continuing the same thing? What could be done? Now that a lot of people could lay claim to one or two good things from there, what could be done? Should we say that he lived his life and has gone to face his maker? It is left for us that are here now to decide who will become and how we meet our maker. Look at also the lives that went in, the lives that were lost. That documentary said it was structural deficits, structural problems. It also boils down to our government agencies who approves these buildings. That a foundation is laid for 1 or 2 story buildings, and then it takes 5-story buildings. So the summary is that there lived a man called T.B Joshua, who wanted to be a prophet of our time. He worked so hard to advance that cause. He raised disciples. He had a secret life of sin, an open life of righteousness. And according to his disciples, he performed many fake miracles. My heart goes out to as many that lost their lives in that collapse, in that structural deficit, in that disaster that claimed uncertified lives. Our sincere apologies to foreigners who came to our country. Now let me tell you, Jesus Christ said, in the latter days, false prophets shall arise and shall deceive many. And the important thing you'll notice too, that they will come in my name. But the Bible also said, by their fruits you shall know them. They talked about mind control in that documentary. Though they didn't call it mind control, but that's what I saw. Like most settings, for you to be a member, you have to believe in an ideology and live by the dictates of those ideologies. Be sure that in your search of God, your mind is not being controlled. Be sure that you seek God for yourself. The Bible said, looking unto Jesus, the author and the finisher of our faith, not to any other one. And for those of you saying you will not go to church any longer, who are you doing? Whether it's church or any religious gathering, who are you doing? If you find justifications to still do the wrong thing, you are also wrong. Two wrongs don't make a right. And let me remind you that the church is a hospital. People come in with different ailments. And like regular hospitals, it's either you're perfectly healed, or you're partially healed, or you go home not healed. But the difference here is that the choice is yours. And like you meet fake doctors in regular hospitals, you can still meet fake doctors or fake preachers in the field of gospel. But whatever the case, seek God for yourself. Seek God for yourself. Stop hinging your relationship with God with what is happening in congregations. Seek God for yourself. In my intro, I told you that you are partly spirit, and the more you look for solution in the flesh, you will not find it. Seek God for yourself and stop hinging your successes in your search for God on any human or any congregation. When we all go to the hospital called church, when we receive our healing, we will know. And then, finally, in the remaining part of our lives, be not interested, or let us not be interested in who is fake or who is real. Let's all ensure that we are not fake. Did that make sense? Did you get me? Stop searching for who is real and who is fake, but ensure that as an individual, you are real and I'm real, and we are all not fakes. By so doing, collectively, there will be no fake people. Thank you so much for listening, and may you receive the peace of God in the times we live in. Ciao.